It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and for some weird reason, I have been craving quiche. You know, the original quiche Lorraine. So Richard bought this bacon. It's one that has all those pieces in it. It's cheap, and it's not sliced all in slices, but it is perfect for what I want because it'll be easier to cut the bacon pieces up when they're all fried. So now I'm just going to lay them in this gigantic cast iron frying pan that I just love because you can put a lot of stuff in there at one time, and you can see how some of these pieces are just literally pieces, and sometimes it's pretty fatty, but those ones become really crispy bacon, so that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the taste of the bacon. It's just the quality of the slices, I guess. So you get what you pay for, but it's perfect for a recipe like quiche. So I'm just going to let that fry up and get nice and crispy. So for original quiche Lorraine, it's really recommended that you use Swiss cheese. A lot of recipes will say cheddar cheese or a blend of cheeses, which you can use, but this particular one, the one I'm making, is using Swiss cheese. So I got hard cheese instead of the already pre-grated one, because apparently the cheese tastes better if you grate it yourself. So far we have fried up 1 cup of bacon, and we've grated 3 cups of Swiss cheese. This handle thing I'm using is called a spurtle. There's 3 different lengths of them, spurtle, and they're used for sourdough to really mix the flour in with the water. And sometimes really hard to get that flour and water mixed in. They're from Scotland and they're called spurtles. So anyway, I have tossed 8 teaspoons of white flour on those 3 cups of cheddar cheese, and it's just to keep the cheese separated from each other. And now I'm going to take the bacon and I'm going to use my kitchen shears, and I'm going to snip it up so that I get 1 full cup of bacon. So once I finished snipping my bacon, I made sure it was a good heaping cup. I got a container to store the rest of the bacon in the fridge, and I lined it with a paper towel to get the rest of the excess grease off of it, and then we'll have some pre-cooked bacon for another recipe or for breakfast. So I've just put the cheese and the bacon aside for a second, and I'm going to make the liquid ingredients. And no, I did not wash out that measuring cup because there's no point. It has a few bits of bacon in it and it's all going in the same recipe, so it doesn't matter. So you see me here cracking 6 eggs, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of half and half cream, 1 half teaspoon of dry mustard, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just going to use my whisk to whisk it all really well together. I didn't want to get my electric beaters out because I thought the whisk can do just as good of a job as any, as long as you're really careful not to. If you're anything like me, when I whisk, it spills over the top of the bowl because I'm kind of sloppy. So I try really hard to keep it all really nice and tidy. So now I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of a dry mustard and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So now the time comes for us to really whisk all of these liquid ingredients together. Just be very careful to not splash, because I probably could have used a bigger bowl, but I didn't know at the time that I was doubling the recipe, or I would have. But it worked out okay. I just took my time and made sure the eggs were really, so the recipe well didn't ask for it, but I decided to go outside in my garden because I noticed the other day we were just cleaning out this back garden. It used to be a pond, if you remember, but we took it all up, and I noticed there was this fresh bunch of delicious chives all ready to be picked. So I thought, let me just go ahead and pick some of these and put them right in our quiche. They make everything just taste so delicious and so fresh. I think they had asked for either parsley or some peppers. So I'm pretty sure you could probably just put whatever you want. I mean, you could put green or red. I would put yellow or red peppers over green because they're a little bit sweeter. But for me, the chives were just the answer. So I brought the chives in the house and gave them a really thorough washing inside, outside. You never know when you bring in things from the yard, what little animals might have been near there. So I make sure I wash them really thoroughly. So now I've got my pie crust ready. I just got frozen pie crust, but you know what is the most frustrating thing? When you open the box of the frozen pie crust that you have paid good money for, and some of the pastry has broken off all around the rim, so I had to add warm water to the pie crust to soften it up and then basically rebuild the pie crust, which is frustrating because you've paid for it to be already ready. So now I'm getting ready to fill my pie crust, and to ensure that each pie has pretty even amounts in each one, I use a half cup measure. So I put a half cup of cheese in one, a half cup of cheese in the other, and I repeat that process until there's obviously no more cheese left, because I hate filling something up and the other one's not that full and you're like, and this way it's the best I can do other than weighing, which I'm not going to do. This is the most accurate I can make it. And because the bacon was already in just 1 cup of bacon, it was pretty easy to just put a half a cup of bacon into each pie crust. So the dry stuff went in first, and here I go with my bacon now. I'm just about to put a half a cup of bacon into one pie and half a cup into the other. So I think it's kind of important to whisk up your liquid if it's been sitting there for a few minutes, just to make sure everything's all mixed up. And when I did my measurement with the cheese and the bacon, I did the exact same thing with the liquid measurements. I took that half cup measure and poured it over one pie and a half cup over the other, even though I could see the measuring on the big measuring cup that was just over 2 cups. I could have just put 1 cup in one and 1 in the other, but I still want to be so exact. So you can see there's a cup in each one, and there's still a little bit of filling left. So I'm just going back and forth until I get them both evenly filled. Then I feel like, yes, they're even now. So I just have a couple of things to do before I pop these into the oven. So I'm just going to take my kitchen shears and snip up those chives that I just picked and washed from the backyard atop each pie. I already did the first one. And then I know it said in the recipe to add some kind of pepper. So I just thought to myself, I think I will just sprinkle some black pepper atop each one, because there is already salt in here and there is dry mustard. So just enhance it with a tiny bit of black pepper. Isn't going to hurt anything. Actually, I think it's just going to make the flavors pop even more. I didn't put too much, because nothing's worse than when you add too much pepper to something. So here they are in all their beauty, my beautiful quiche Lorraine, ready to pop in the oven. And you can see there, that's where I really repaired that one pie crust. It was a bit of a hot mess, but it'll bake lovely, I'm sure. So I set my oven to 375 and popped them in and baked them for 35 minutes. That was absolutely perfect in my oven. If your oven's a little cooler, then I suggest you maybe bake them at 400. Look at how they turned out. Beautiful. I just love them. And truth be told, we just had some to eat. It was so good. And I managed to break an egg when I was making the quiche, and it kind of bugged me. So I decided to make some donuts. You melt the butter after they're baked. You melt the butter and dip the tops in butter. And then you turn them upside down and dip them in that cinnamon sugar stuff. So not too bad for a Saturday morning of baking, hey? Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.